4. It's Chase Sexton, man. What's up? How are you, buddy?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's up, Chase?
Is that the best race of your career or what?
I mean, to date, for sure. I would have. I mean, it'd be hard to argue that. I mean,
phenomenal.
If you asked me before I went out if I'd go from last to first, one, I wouldn't want to, and two, I probably wouldn't be like, oh yeah, it's like super possible. But
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, everything kind of just fell into place, and I don't know. I think towards the end of the race, I was still like not fresh, but I wasn't getting tired, and I had a good flow going. So towards the end, it was just easier to pick off guys if they were tired, and it was kind of hot. So yeah, the cards kind of just lined up. I don't want to do that again.
Right?
No.
So when did you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. When did you think you could actually win the moto? Like at what point? Because there was a time about 10 minutes ago, I'm like, I think he could win this. And then I switched from like, no, I think he's going to lay up and take second. And I was like, oh, no, he's not. He's going to try to win. So I was like curious in your head when you thought or what you were thinking during those moments.
Yeah, I mean, my whole, like I said, I think a few times, I think the biggest thing was getting, well, first off, when I went down, I'm like, man, I'm just like, I'm an idiot. I just blew a shot to an overall. And then
I think we were all
if I can
thinking
get back
that.
to, like,
Yeah,
a
we were all
podium-
thinking that.
Yeah, if I can get back to like an overall like podium position, that'd be like a good salvage, I felt like. And then, so I have like a mark on the guys in the front, and I was going like around the first turn, and those guys were coming into the turn before you go up the first or the second hill.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's a big gap. Like that was early in the race too. So I was just trying not to lose time to those guys passing like through the pack. And then I started catching them, and I could kind of see. I couldn't see who was leading. I could only see Justin Cooper, so I didn't know who was leading. Didn't know where he was, but I knew those guys were like in the lead pack. And I don't know. I started clicking off guys. Got to Barsha was like the first like of the, I would say, the front group.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like it was spread out between. Honestly, I think I passed maybe Norin or something like that. And then there was a big gap to Barsha. And then once I got him, it was a big gap to Jason. So then once I got to Jason, that he was fairly close. And then once I kind of smelt like blood in the water and realized that I could win this overall, I'm like, all right, we're gonna go for it. And then got Punter, which I didn't even realize. I think when I got Jason, that was like the overall win.
It was moving around a lot. It was moving like switching around when those guys passed each other, and then as you were moving through, it changed like 3 times as far as who was going to win.
So to me, I was like, all I was thinking about was passing Hunter. I didn't like that was kind of like. When I got him, I'm like, okay, now I'm good. And then I saw Justin. I'm like, I can get him. And then I saw AP. I'm like, I mean, he was kind of a little bit up the road. And I didn't take like a breather lap, but I took a lap to like kind of gather myself. And I got to like the last lap. I'm like, okay, well, we're up here. Might as well just like try and make something cool out of this. So I just kind of sent it the last lap, and I knew that if I get close enough after like the fly 150, that was my section of passing all day. So I knew if I got close there, my first goal was to pass on the rollers. I made a mistake. Then I got close to him going downhill. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna send it. Like let's see if I can make this turn. So then I got close to him, got around him, and it was really cool. That was, I mean, probably one of the most like emotional races I've had ever. But it was really special. My dad, that's probably the happiest I've ever seen my dad.
Was so
oh, you could hear him on camera. Yeah, he was very excited.
Well, that's kind of like his whole thing. Like like no matter what the circumstances are, you never give up, and like he always put it all on the track, and that ended up working out pretty well.
You were loose a few times. I saw your side plates down the first downhill one time, and then going into the back, you were doing a full 2-wheel skid. Like, yeah, but you're just like, you probably don't even remember that stuff, Chase. You're just, because you were just on it, you know, like sending it.
I feel like I was maybe like a little bit under the microscope, because I feel like I only had I guess you could say maybe 3 moments that I had one down the hill where I hit the same hole twice. I'm like, okay, I got sketchy the first time, and I skipped it a few laps, and I hit it again, like an idiot, and I got sideways. But it wasn't like where I was going sideways, like, oh, this is going to be like gnarly if I crash. I was like super slow. I was just going to slide out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, oh, that was super sketchy. But then I passed Hunter, and I got on the gas really aggressive, got that 2-0 slide. But besides for that, like, I feel like I rode like a pretty like solid race with how I was pushing. I'm within my limits, but I was going for like I'm just gonna go and send it. So, and like down the hills and stuff, like the second hill or the third hill where I passed AP, I was good there. I was just really comfortable. So like when you're in that like that headspace where you feel comfortable, but you kind of can allow the bike to. I mean, you don't want to obviously crash or get too cocky, but I was really comfortable with how I was riding.
Yeah, like that's what like you were so comfortable. Like I'm sure you just were like you're able to do whatever you want on any line out on the track that you wanted to take, and that's the sign, right? I was talking to this kid who you work with a little bit. He rides for Pro Circuit. His hair looks like a cheetah hair. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. He was telling me, we were talking after the race, and like we kind of were like, this is Chase's moment to be like, the bike's great. I trust this thing. I could do whatever I want. And we know this has been a bit of an issue. Like, you've won some races, but we know all the stuff we've covered in other interviews with you. And this could be a moment where you're like, I'm one with this bike. Do you agree? I mean, every track's different, every dirt's different, but did you take a step forward in everything with this ride?
Yeah, so I tested last week at Paula on Tuesday after the National, and like we found some stuff, but I wasn't super like stoked. Like we didn't really make much progress. And then we went to this track in the hills. It's kind of like, I would say outside of like Riverside, like Merino Valley, and they dug it super deep, had like big downhills. It was like basically on the side of the hill, and we found some stuff with the bike that I hadn't really like. I don't know. It's because I'll say this: like I went from Florida to California. I had a huge crash at Paula before Salt Lake. Like on the third lap, I was actually messing around with Ryan Marias, our test guy.
Yep.
And I had this like Deegan's crash this weekend was identical to that almost. But I ripped like the whole inside of my pants. I'm like,
jeez. That
was when I hit the panic button. I'm like, oh, I've been talking like so good. Like we got this bike set up for outdoors, and now I'm like super uncomfortable. Like, I wasn't really trusting it. Then when I went back to Florida, I had a meltdown in the week off, and then so then I came back out here and we found something like pretty good during the week before Paula. Raced that. Wasn't super happy. Like I feel like the bike was I was getting beat up, and I felt like a little bit erratic at Paula.
Mm-hmm.
And then this week we found some stuff like that Thursday that was really good. Like more of what I felt in 22 on the Honda. Like that's kind of what we went at, like that characteristic a little bit.
Sure. And
they kind of nailed it. And I went. It was Thursday. I did a moto with Tom. Was like, okay, it was pretty good. And then we switched some suspension stuff, and I went like a second and a half faster without really even having to like push. Which I was like, okay, if I can like take that into the race, we should be good. So yeah, I don't know. We just found some stuff this week. It made me more comfortable, and like when I'm comfortable, I can move around on the track. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if I have comfort, I can make it work, and that's kind of what we found.
Okay, so I have a question. Obviously, the riding was fantastic this weekend, but I still think, big picture, the starts are going to set you up for success, right? Like you don't have to ride the way you did in that second moto.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked about it. You need to be better on the starts. Like, what do you think that is? Is it clutch delivery? Is it grip off the grid? Is it the first 5 feet across the gate? Like, where do you think you're missing? Because to compare it, we've watched Hunter and Jet, and I'm sure you guys have broken it down too. Like, that's where they're so good. Like, the first 10 feet across the gate, they're getting a gap, and then they're just accelerating cleanly past that.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me right now, it's the jump off the gate. I'm just a little bit slow on my clutch like release. I almost feather the clutch too much. Like I'm like Ian and those guys say, like I'm like it's almost too smooth. I'm just letting it out slow.
Yep.
And I lose over that first 5 feet, 10 feet, and then you're just buried basically.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to get a good start. So that's kind of my focus this week is I just need to get my jumps better, and my driving and stuff. Everything like that's good. I've switched up my technique in Supercross and it's working, but I need to be more aggressive off the gate. And that's kind of like you said. Like Jet and Hunter are really good. Like second moto at Paula, Hunter came out of the gate, and I literally in the back. I almost said it out loud, like while I'm taking. I'm like, oh my god, like that was a gnarly jump.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought in my head. Like that was gnarly, and then he ended up getting the whole shot. I actually had a decent start. He was just that much better. So
is there enough grip that you can pretty much just dump? And I don't mean dump it, like just completely release it, but like is there a lot of grip for you guys on that grid?
Yeah, it's gnarly. Like it's a lot of grip. That's like where for me I have almost too much. Where I'm like that's why I'm feathering it so badly. There's so much grip, and I don't know. I like the grates, and for outdoors, like I don't know. It's just nice to have like that. It's flat. Like you're not coming out of a hole. And I mean, Steve, you might disagree with that. You like the old school
get rid of them.
dirt starts.
Get rid of them.
Gates were amazing this weekend.
And hole shot devices.
Yeah. No, listen, JT. Do you know what they're at for hole shot? Do you remember what? Okay, I just asked you what bar bend you had. You didn't remember, but do you remember?
I ran like 120
for the starting device. Yeah, they're at 170 now.
Yeah.
They are so far down there because they have grip. They have grip, right? So. I think
Kyle Lewis was the most I'd ever seen, and it was 140. Yeah, like in that era.
So talking about these guys, I think they can just dump the clutch and go. You know, Chase. It was an awesome ride. It was great to see it. We do have a question on Twitter because it's Twitter. Did you know that you were knocking AP off the podium in taking that win away from your teammate? And should you have passed him? I'm just telling you what Twitter said, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, the last guy that I wanted to like pass for the win was probably AP.
No, listen,
him and I actually get along really well.
Yeah,
but for me, that's 3 points. Like, that wasn't my
doubt.
That's 3 points. Like that could mean a lot.
It's a 6-point swing.
Yeah,
big
I saw that question. I was like, oh my god, dude! Like Chase, he needs. No, man, I'm riding incredible. I'm going to pass you. You know, like so. Go ahead, Anthony.
Here's a man on a mission. It was impressive to watch. We had a watch party over at Dalton's house, and between me, him, his wife, and our friends, we were just screaming the whole entire time.
Yeah. Well, I was in the announcer's tower, and Bidas was just screaming the whole time too. So I mean, it worked really well. What did Ian and Roger say to you afterwards, Chase? What were their reactions?
Yeah, Raj was stoked. Obviously, Ian was stoked. Roger was really stoked. He's like, I mean, he likes that kind of stuff. Like that's like his bread and butter. Like a gritty ride to win is like his like that's what gets him going, kind of thing. So. And I honestly, I've had so much. I feel like more, not positive, but like more people reaching out after this than like after I won the Supercross title. It's really kind of crazy. I thought it was cool. Obviously, like coming from last to first is awesome. But the people that have been reaching, it's like kind of crazy. I thought it was cool, but I wasn't like. I mean, yeah, I was stoked, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was more people than I thought were reaching out.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, everyone. It was a great ride. It's going to go right up there with everyone's going to be like, you know, I remember this, I remember that. The Tomac ride we talked about a few times, and we'll talk about this as well over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so there is that. Decal Works bringing you Chase Sexton on the Pulp MX show, presented by DecalMX.com. Hey, Chase, looked like you really didn't want to do that pre-race, that pre-moto interview at all. Really, didn't really look like it.
Oh, dude. I just saw that today. Actually, one of my buddies showed me. Well, I was just like, I was kind of zoned in.
Yeah.
I had my headphones on. Like, right. I'm trying to lock in for this moto. Like, I don't really want to. I'm not one of those guys that go on. I'm not on the line like searching like to talk to people. I'm kind of just sitting there doing my own thing and trying to like get myself ready to go. And I saw, I don't know what her name, but she was walking over, and I'm like, man, like I didn't want to blow her off, but I wanted to like, I'm trying to like get ready to race. Like this is my job. Yeah. So. I don't know. I kind of felt like an ass.
Well, hey, just so you know, there's this huge discussion that goes on behind the scenes where they want to hear from you guys right before we go out. And I'm pushing back all the time, and Will Christian's pushing back all the time. And Supercross is like, this isn't the right time. Like, these guys are not in promotional, let's talk to the fans, tell me what you're thinking mode. Like, they're thinking about this is their life's work about to go down, and you're judged on Saturday nights. Everything you do is judged in the next 22 minutes, right? Like your whole life, what people think about you, if they think you're a good or bad human or not, is about to be decided in the next 22 minutes. They don't want to tell us about how their week was and what they're thinking, right? It's not the right time for that. So I felt really bad for Katie because she's put in that spot of trying to go down and talk to you guys, but having been there with way less pressure than you have, I get it.
Yeah,
I would have been a terrible interview
right,
down
any
there.
racer would have agreed, I think. Like just when you're on the line and so I just thought it was funny, Chase. I mean, we know you're very friendly with the media. You're very good with interviews. It's not like, but there's certain times where it's like, hey, man, got to race. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's also like people or certain riders that will like they're fine with that. Like that doesn't, not that it bothers me, but it's just like there's some people that are more open to doing that stuff. Like AP is a good example. Like guys that are really like outgoing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say I'm outgoing, but there's like a certain I'm when it's business, like I mean, like like we're going for it. So I don't know. It just
I kind of feel like,
place, and also I think the personality.
I feel like if you're in staging and everybody's hanging out back there, it's fine. Once you put your helmet on and you roll up to the gate, like up there, it's over. Like that time of interaction is kind of past, right? And it's time to go to work.
We do have Sloan on 3. Speaking of warming up, Sloan, what's your question for Chase here on the show?
Hey Chase, I'm a big fan. What is your go-to warm-up song?
Thank you. A lot of people ask me this. I'm a pretty big, I would say, music guy, but I listen to everything. And if I'm being honest, like I listen to country and like pop music on the line. It's maybe not the most like hype up music, but like for me, I don't need to get more like revved up. I'm kind of already there. I just need something to like kind of hone me in, sort of thing. So I don't know. It's just whatever. It's whatever comes up my playlist is what I'm playing. Honestly, I don't really like search through songs to get me hyped up. It's just more like what comes on.
All right, there you go, Sloan. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you. You should try this weekend in Lakewood. I know it went really well for you at Gangtown. Can we call it Gangtown, by the way? Do you like that name, Chase? Gangtown?
I don't know. It sounds kind of gnarly.
I mean, you're gnarly.
Well,
I mean,
Steve asked me, and I said, hey, I'm not putting my name up, but if Sexton's in, then I'm in. So
sounds good.
I mean, no pressure.
Pull up the song 5150 by Van Halen and listen to it on the line this weekend, Chase. It'll change.
Make you think less of Steve is what it's going to do.
All right. Chris is on 2. What's up, Chris? What's your question for Chase Sexton?
Not a question, more of a statement. So 15 minutes in, 23 seconds down, I saw you chase over the step-up triple there. You look back down at the leaders. I just thought it was an all-time great moment of MX history, honestly. That's about it. I love that. You look back 23 seconds down, you look back, and then went to work.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I was marking the leaders at all times just to see like where I was at and kind of like it's a reference for what kind of pace I was running. And yeah, I was keeping tabs on them because like you said, you never know what's possible. There's stuff that happens all the time that's super crazy. And like I said, I think the cards just aligned and I was in a really good flow. So I was definitely marking them. Did I think I was going to get there? Like, probably not, but yeah, it worked out.
Chase, where are we at on reading the pit board? Because every time I ask you about it, you're like, yeah, I didn't look at it. I didn't even know what it said.
Yeah.
Like, are we still there? Like, it's just like you're marking them, so you don't even need it.
I was reading it this weekend.
Okay.
That pit area was like perfect.
It's easy to see.
You're in a straight line.
Yeah. Some of the weekends, like
if you're not,
you literally have to turn your head some weekends to see it.
All right, Chase.
Sometimes it's weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes they put these mechanics areas in the worst spot.
Yeah, Supercross sometimes it's
you're turning left and it's on the far right,
exactly.
right? Like it's not good.
Chase, so track prep. I don't know if you saw this, but the track prep even got Tomac to come out of Twitter retirement.
I saw.
Yeah. So Tomac loved it. Most of the guys I talked to loved it. They said it was a little fast. Track was a little fast, but that had nothing to do with the prep itself. Where are you at with the way they prepped it? Shane Schaefer was a little bit new to Hangtown this year. What'd you think?
I liked it. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the downhills at first. I watched on press day, I'm like, dude, these downhills are going to be so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they get bumps. Like, on press day it was smooth, so it was easy. Like, they were doing these doubles down the hill. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But, like, when it gets rough, that's going to be really sketchy. And, like, especially the one, like, the second downhill into the turn.
Yep.
If someone, like, was to get sketchy there and, like, make it and then go into the turn, dude, they would end up in the finish line if they were out of control.
What if they tried to triple down the hill the first lap and didn't make it?
Yeah, what happened then?
Yeah, I mean, that was honestly, like, super gnarly.
It was really gnarly, yeah.
Yeah, if you would have made it, it would have been fast, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not hating on it. It was like, if you would have made it, it would have been unreal.
It was fast, even in practice. Like, you were going inside. We had the dartfish, like, on both, and it was fast.
Yeah, no, I wasn't messing with it.
Yeah.
Was it a lot faster? A lot?
Well,
because I felt like going inside wasn't too bad.
So it was really interesting. Like, at the beginning, it was kind of the same, but Jet would go outside, and he would carry momentum all the way back up that hill, and then it was faster by the end.
Sure, yeah. But Chase, we were talking about Jet's crash. I know you don't want to talk about your competitor, all this stuff, but JT. I mean, we both thought about it. Like, he's coming down there. He sees the sight lap. He sees this gnarly jump. Because I had a few guys tell me just how mental that thing was. But like Chase, you've been there in Supercross on the Honda. I remember a couple of times. I can do that. I'm awesome. I'm amazing. I can do it. And that's probably what Jet was thinking. When you're on that level and you're there, you guys have this thing in your mind where you're like, "Yep, I can do that." So, you know.
No, I've had that. I've had the same thing happen to me in Supercross. I mean, when you think you can make a jump and you don't make it. I mean, like I said, he obviously thought he was going to make it. That was full on commitment. There was no second guessing that. He was committed. So you can't knock him for that. That was pretty impressive. But then. Yeah, it's just I don't know if it had enough. I think the biggest thing, if you look at the video, his rear kind of came up a little bit before he tried to preload, and I think he lost that little bit of drive to make it. But there was no lip on it. Like he was basically going to try and jump it off a bump.
I think he was trying to. Like I said, he thought he was going to get more pop off that braking bump, and instead of pop, it kicked him forward, and then it was game over from there. Short and like over the front is a bad combo.
In the ruts, not good.
So Chase, you're a fan of the prep. Going back to the prep question about being able to move around more, going inside, outside. Yeah, we get some dust. Yeah, we have some square edge stuff, but yeah, you like it?
Yeah, I actually do like it. I think, well, for me in the second moto, it was allowing me to be creative and like move around on the track where I needed to make passes. And there was like you can make passes on almost every turn on the track, which is really unheard of. Like when you till the track super deep, there gets like those main lines, but then also it makes the middle of the track like unraceable. Like we're not touching because it's so deep, and if they don't form a line there, you can't use it. So like for this, like this instance, like the track where you were able to be creative, move around, more like MotoGP style, where you could set the turns up, flow, and I liked it. I was not like the first Fox. I wasn't completely sold. I'm like, man, the track's gonna be kind of a freeway, but it gets rough and it was gnarly still.
Yeah,
I really liked and I didn't get to ride it obviously, but like the section by the mechanics area, I don't think I've ever seen traction at Hangtown like that. Like it was deep, like okay, a little ruddy in practice there, but like the corners actually like tacked up and they were pretty good. Like that is not typical Hangtown at all.
That corner for the mechanics area second moto was so fun.
Yeah,
like. I love that turn. It was really like they kind of put those like little windrows in it, and it created like a nice rut, and it kind of just stayed the whole moto. So I was a big fan. I liked the dirt there. I've always liked it. I didn't get to race it last year, but I've always enjoyed the dirt because I think like for California, you don't really get much better.
No, yeah, it was great. I mostly, I mean, look, racers are never going to agree 100% on anything, but I got a lot of people that said they loved that track and the way it was shaped up and the layout and everything. So. It was an all-timer. Going into Lakewood, Chase, thoughts on that track and thoughts on this weekend?
Yeah, I like Lakewood. It's rutted. Ruts are kind of my forte, I would say. I've actually raced there. I raced there once as an amateur. I've always liked the track. I think I didn't get to race there last year. It was super deep. So it's kind of you're really just up to what kind of prep they do.
Yep,
I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's super deep, it could be a completely different track. If it's not as deep, it can be really. I mean, yeah, it's just different how they prep it. So, I guess we'll see. But I like the track. The layout's fun. I just like that it's ruts. That's the biggest thing.
All right. Anything else for Chase Sexton? Greatest race of his career in Hangtown.
It was amazing.
I honestly like. I'm neweral. I don't care who wins or loses, but I was really happy for Chase. That day.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah,
such a good announcer.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're stoked. This is awesome. This breathed a lot of life into everything, and I think it's going to help you a lot. So does the kid with the cheetah hair going forward. So, yeah, man, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Great work, Chase.
Thanks, Chase.
Thanks, boys. I appreciate it.
All right. See ya. That's Chase Sexton, everybody, on the Pulp MX Show, brought to you by DecalMX.com. I mean, yeah.
One thing we didn't mention is,
okay.
and it's okay, but it was pretty impressive how both how good he and Vial were, because they've been riding together. I know Kitchen's there too. I get it. But I think from what I see, he and Tom are pretty tight.
Yeah. Kitchen, they do the off-track stuff with Kitch. Kitch is riding at Sandbox. Yeah. They ride at Baker's, so they don't ride together. But
every time I see Tom and Chase, like they're together, training together, riding together, lifting together, like, and they both were super strong this weekend. So I just thought there was
something to look forward to as we get hotter, right? This summer, like what if these dudes start? What if their fitness starts shining?
They look
through
like they're
a little
feeding off each other,
Yeah.
getting stronger and
Right.
confidence and all those things.
Yeah. All right, we got Jeremy Coker coming up right away. Cole's on one. He wants to talk about Bro Show. What's up, Cole? How are you, man?